Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sylvia D'Silva. In today's video, you're gonna see my art studio. I've made an art studio video before, but that was in Rajasthan and I currently live in Pune. So this is the place where I spend most of my time and I really love this space. So I hope you enjoy watching this video. Okay, so I live in this really old-fashioned house and it's got a double ceiling. So I chose the biggest room to turn into my art studio. Anyway, so this is my favorite space. Okay, so this is my setup where I actually do most of my work. I do my editing on my laptop and I do my watercolor paintings, and you can see the tripod there, which is where I do my watercolor paintings, and it is currently set up for that because I've been working on watercolors. So this table is actually my workspace and it was made out of a very old wooden door, and I painted it white, but I didn't want a pure white look, so I wanted a bit of a grunge look. If you can look closer, that is what it looks like. And I also have a dustbin right behind there in black, but I don't use it except for when I'm painting. So when I'm painting, it comes right next to the table, next to my chair. I also have this pretty little terrarium right here, which I made out of a coffee jar for myself. And sitting right here, I can see the TV. So I usually put on stuff that I've already watched before, reruns of TV series that I like, and it just plays in the background while I paint. So this thing right here is something that I thought could help me with watercolor painting, so I could just put it on the table, but it shakes. As you can see, you just shake it a little and yeah, the video gets messed up. So I've decided not to use it for that, but now I use it as a stand for my iPad or my phone on which I have my reference photos. So I usually keep my laptop here, and this is one of my favorite paintings right here. And here is a cart which I recently bought from IKEA. I keep the last shelf empty because my cat likes to sleep in it. And the second shelf right here contains all of my tech supplies that I need, mostly my iPad keyboard and the iPencil and a small watercolor sketchbook, my USB mouse, and I have some of my other stuff, my planners and a book of quotations and so on, and a bottle containing water. And the top shelf right here, because I'm currently working on watercolors, it has a jar in which I wash my watercolor brushes. It has the paper towels, and I always keep these pencils and supplies that I need all the time basically. I have scotch tape, I have my watercolors, my Camel watercolors, and I have my watercolor brushes drying. I just worked on a piece yesterday, so here they are. So whenever I'm working on, say, acrylic, this entire shelf will change to acrylic supplies, so I can just choose whichever paints I want and set it up here. Right behind my desk is this very large easel. I've used it for I think about 6 years now, and it's amazing. It's so sturdy. It's made of teak and I really like it, but it's becoming a bit of a problem for me to move it to every new place that I move into. So currently it holds some of my Supplies to make terrariums. I have some rocks right down there. I have a paper cutter and a flex which I lay down while making pour paintings. I also have a large canvas right there, the black thing. I have some spare canvases right behind there, and I have an apron hanging over it. Moving on, I have a few paintings here and 2 chairs because a lot of people who visit me like to sit here. I have this medicine ball which I like to sit on. Mostly my husband likes to sit on it. And I have this corner which I really like. Okay, so that is my drawing easel. And I've been using it as a music stand right now. And I have this tiny little rug. And I also have this easel, which is the first thing I owned before I owned the larger easels. So this I've had for a very long time, and I got it made by a local carpenter, and it cost me around 1,000 rupees, I think. And I have this acrylic board on which I paste most of my watercolors. Now this I bought on IKEA. It's a magnetic board. I really like it. I need to buy some more magnets so I can put more stuff on it and keep changing. So currently, as I've said before, I'm working on watercolors. So I have my Faber-Castell and Camel Artist watercolor palette stuck right here, and I can change it if I'm working on Inktense. I can add my Inktense color palettes and acrylic palettes and so on, and I can keep changing it. And this is a piece I recently made, and it's something really beautiful. It's my favorite color combination, and I wanted to hang up there for a while. Moving on, this is where I keep most of my canvas, my the older ones, the ones which are painted on, some which are half painted. And I like to hang most of my paintings up there because I don't really want it to stay inside. I'm afraid it'll catch mold, and yeah, that's why some of my favorites are hanging right here. Okay, this is another trunk which contains my paintings. Forgot to mention, this is also a trunk full of my paintings and some extra canvas and so on. There's a lamp I really like. I usually prefer white light, but sometimes I like mood lighting, so I switch this on. And I have my cello right there. It's one of my favorite things in this room right now. I'm learning to play the cello and it's going great. Okay, so moving on. I bought some of these frames from IKEA, and they're really pretty. I usually like white frames, and this only cost me about 150 rupees or lesser than that, so it's so pretty. And I recently bought a palm, which usually when I'm on this side covers those two wires from the TV, and there's no way I can hide them, so I like the palm. I have all of my brushes here, not including the ones which are still in their packaging. So yeah, these are the ones I use frequently. And I have this little corner which has my yoga mats, my vacuum cleaner and so on. This is the cupboard which holds all of my art supplies. So let's go see what's in it. Okay, so the top shelf, the box right here holds most of my extra supplies, the extra pencils, extra paints, which I'm not currently using, which I will only use after the ones which I'm currently using are over. The file right there, the box file, holds most of my stencils and some other documents. I have some extra heavy body acrylic colors which I haven't opened yet. I have an extra set of Camel Artist watercolors which I may use or may give away, and those I usually use my I wash my yogurt cups and use them as for my pour paintings. So that's that entire thing. I have some quilling supplies and some other craft supplies and punches and such in that corner. Moving on to the next shelf, you can see I have most of my color pencils here, the polychromos, the ink tints, bit pastels. I also have a very old sketchbook right there, some sketch pens, a smaller set of polychromos, and I have some student oil pastels and also a set of Montmartre watercolor pencils. The thing right on top is a brush holder. A pencil holder. It holds most of my graphite pencils. Right here is my Derwent sharpener, and these are all of my palettes, including the watercolor palettes. The box at the bottom holds most of my graphite supplies, charcoal, erasers, leads, and so on. The one on top holds a lot of pastels, some watercolor supplies, and I have some Tombow brush pens right there. I have more watercolor papers here and some pastel papers as well, and my watercolor brushes. Moving on to the next shelf, this is my cutting mat. This box right here holds most of my inks and some paper towels. This box right here holds all of my acrylic paints, the tubes, paint tubes, all of them. This one has some wash brushes. Basket in the bottom holds most of my extra acrylic mediums and my crackle texture paste. So this box right here holds a lot of my acrylic mediums. I have big jars, 1 liter jars of acrylic paints in there. Those are again in the corner my acrylic mediums, and the bottommost has all of my Daleroni and Liquitex inks. A Winsor Newton fixative which wouldn't fit anywhere else. The next shelf, the box right there holds all of my brushes, like all of them, the ones I haven't even opened yet. I usually buy them when it's available on a discount, and I store them because I know I'm gonna need it later. This basket right here is just an extra one which I can store some of my supplies in, and I have a small palette. I have some Camel brush pens in the basket right here. Okay, so this corner right here has all of my oil paints. I haven't been painting in oil paint much, which is why they are in cardboard boxes. But I have sorted them according to mediums and the large tubes of oil paints, smaller tubes of oil paints, and a box containing only portrait colors. And the last shelf, I don't really have much to say because it's not really organized, but it holds most of my extra paper towels, my new wax supplies, beeswax and encaustic supplies and so on, which I haven't figured out yet. I don't know how to use them because encaustic supplies are not easy to find in India, but I'm trying to make my own, so let's see how it goes. And this shelf right here holds, the bottom shelf mostly has my vacuum cleaner attachments, and the one on top holds most of my watercolor papers, and this case right here holds most of my watercolors which I've bought in large sheets and cut them out. Also, this has some watercolors and some craft papers as well. Alright, so this first drawer right here holds all of my tools like wiper, staplers, hammer, punches, protective glasses and so on, scissors. The second drawer right here usually holds all of my tech supplies, my CDs, memory cards and my headphones, which are all currently, most of them are currently in use, so they are at my table. This shelf right here holds all of my airbrush supplies, my palette knives, sponges, and so on. And the last shelf has my papers, my printing papers in them. So let me know what you think. All my social media sites are linked below, so you can check that out, and do subscribe.